This symbolic day, exactly 15 days after the referendum on independence, when people throughout Ukraine freely expressed their will in favor of independence, including in those territories that some today dispute. I want to express to President Volodymyr Zelensky, and through him to all of Ukraine, our unwavering full support after a new devastating wave of strikes, which were directed against the country, especially against the city of Kiev. I also want in particular to offer my condolences after the strike on Dnipro. These are very heavy, unbearable losses. And with these strikes on the civilian population, Russia deepens its aggression every day, thereby violating the most basic laws of humanity and international law. This is certainly not a sign of strength. It is an assault on the rule of law. It is an obstacle to peace. And I wanted to say to the President that in recent weeks, these last 2 weeks, which have been especially intensive, after the discussions held in Geneva, those that took place in recent days in Miami, and also subsequent to the Tuesday meeting of the Coalition of the Willing, convened at my specific initiative, in which, for the very first time, Secretary of State Marco Rubio actively participated. We are now in a configuration where the United States has taken on the role of mediator, and I applaud the work of President Trump's team. The United States of America, Ukraine, and all Europeans, all yearn for enduring peace. That is the central objective of the latest negotiations and rounds of meetings. But when we speak about peace, it is clear that everyone must have their own role. Russia must put an end to its aggression, and so far it has shown no sign at all of intending to do so. Ukraine is the only party that can negotiate about territory, because these are its territories, recognized as such by international law. When it comes to security guarantees, they must necessarily be with the participation of Ukrainians at this table, because this is their territory, and also if there are representatives of a coalition of the willing to sit at the table, because they also act as guarantors and because we are talking about the security of Europe. When it comes to frozen assets, those concerned are the countries of the European Union, because this falls within their jurisdiction and competence. So, first of all, everything must be properly allocated according to roles, according to competences, and according to the spectrum of our responsibilities. We are now focusing on the negotiations on security guarantees, as they are at the center of the discussion. In the upcoming days there will also be discussions between representatives of the United States and the Coalition of the Willing to clearly define the division of roles within these guarantees. At the same time, discussions are underway to ensure that Russia clearly sets out to the American mediator its positions regarding its readiness for peace. We have all united around Ukraine, around the primacy of international law, and around security and peace for Europe. Let me repeat today with particular emphasis. We are all, and I underline here the very important coordinating role together with the British and the Germans, we are all committed to a lasting and just peace for Ukraine and for all Europeans. We had a very substantive discussion with President Zelensky. We were able to understand what the position of the negotiators in Miami was. We also coordinated the positions of the partners so as to prepare for continued work in the coming weeks and days. This is also an opportunity for me to express our support for Ukraine as it resists attempts to destroy its identity. The cultural season that opens today in Paris in the presence of the First Lady, and I want to express my particular gratitude. And also my wife will participate in this event, and all this testifies to our special respect for this event. Mrs. Zelensky and my wife are at the same time taking part in an event organized by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs in support of an international initiative that you, Mr. President, also strongly support, the return of Ukrainian children deported by Russia. There are thousands of them, and this issue will continue to mobilize us all until we find the solution. So today's events and meetings have enabled all of us to move forward. In order to align further European efforts and to underline the mobilization of everyone in favor of a lasting and just peace. As I said, there will be discussions between the American and Russian delegations in the coming days. The outcome of these talks should clarify Russia's position more precisely, whether it is prepared to move forward on this path. For our part, we will support all efforts in favor of peace. And, in the meantime, we will support Ukraine's resistance in this war and provide consistent, coherent financing for this support, because it is about our own security. I won't delay any longer. I want to thank you again, Mr. Volodymyr, for being here in Paris. You know you can count on our friendship and our support.